Hi, everyone. We are back, the Reluctant Hams, and I am here today with my co host. I am Tracy Williams Barnett, and I'm here with Franklin Salas
Sup, peoples?
and the beautiful Gigi Lou.
Hello, darling.
Hello. And we have a very, very special guest for part two, the one and only Mr. Carlos Garcia.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
It is really our pleasure.
He's got a good radio voice.
Amazing
Yeah,
radio
it's
voice,
not bad.
actually.
I'm
That might be your next career.
Giving me a
Next
run
career.
for my money.
I'm getting curious about this whole thing.
So, Carlos, I'm sure this is not your first podcast, but how do you like hearing your voice? Like, because I remember when I started, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, but now I kind of love
I don't like hearing it. It feels like it's coming through my nose. It sounds that way. And I was a singer when I was a kid,
Say what
so
now?
I'm very sensitive to.
Can you sing
Sound.
something really quickly? Come on, real quick. What you got there?
Anything by Lady Gaga is fine.
Go, Carlos. Go, Carlos.
Oh my God! I'll do a little corny one.
Go ahead.
A little boy and a little girl in an ecstasy of bliss. Said the little boy to the little girl, "Pray give me just one kiss." The girl drew back in great surprise. "You're a stranger, sir," said she, "and I will give you just one kiss when the apples grow on the lilac tree."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yeah, that's
The
beautiful.
boy was very sad at heart. She was the only one. The girl grew rather remorseful. What a terrible thing she had done. So bright and early on the very next morn, she was quite surprised to see her little sweetheart standing by the garden,
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
tying apples to the lilac tree.
I have goosebumps.
I have goosebumps.
What
oh
the
my
hell just
goodness.
happened?
Seriously, I would have had you singing every time I saw you, Carlos, had I known. This
That's-
is
Is
a
that what
best kept
That's how he
secret.
gets his listing of
listings.
points.
when things are going south, he just sings
Start
and
singing and dancing.
So
Touching
you had to have
hearts.
sung to your kids when they were little,
My
right?
grandmother sang that song to my mother. She sang it
Okay.
to me and my
Oh,
brother.
wow.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I could
definitely
see
sang
that.
it to my kids. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
But as a little kid, that was my thing, singing. Like
Yeah.
in choirs, and I had bands in high school and college,
And
stuff
that
like
translated into your daughter's
Oh
gift.
my God.
She is like
that.
straight up like professional singer. If you guys have not heard Maya sing, it's incredible.
No, but literally at a way, way higher level. Like, it's sad that you asked me to sing a song, so the only one I could do was the one I could remember. But that's
Right.
not the best one. I would have rather done "Lean on Me,"
Oh.
something a little more soulful. But my daughter, that's what she can do. She can just pull it from anywhere at any time.
From such
Oh.
a young age too. I remember her
I love
performing
it.
and with
Yes.
so much confidence.
Yes. Careful now. We'll make this into a podcast
Uh,
about Maya and Garcia.
Oh my goodness.
so
And
we
she's-
want to learn a little bit more about Carlos, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us about your family, because I feel like that's the root of all of this.
Your big why.
Well, okay.
Because it's
So-
because
Maybe
it's
it isn't.
Ang Garcia
So,
property. So
yeah,
there's
so
an Ang to this.
The Ang is Lucinda Ang, Ang Garcia, my wife,
Mhm.
an interior designer. We started the business under the moniker Investment Minded Design Conscious.
Mm.
She's the designer. She's got real high aesthetic. I can come up with a ton of design ideas, more than she will, but hers are better. You know what I mean? So you'll spend 10 minutes with us. I'll give you 12 ideas. She'll give you one or two. You'll use one of hers. Right?
Wow.
But I'm passionate about it. So I love that about her.
Mhm.
She's opened my eyes up to that. I was the investment side of it. I was a lawyer before, and I became a realtor. And my side hustle was buying and renovating and renting properties. It remains that.
Mhm.
I'm really an investor before I'm a realtor.
Mhm.
So that's a really important part of the thrust, in terms of the way I do real estate. I do it, always wanting, if I can, to help people improve their financial situation. Not every client wants that. Some people literally just want a dope condo to
Mhm.
improve their lifestyle,
Mhm.
their happiness, and their Friday nights, whatever. Fine. But whenever I can help a client move the needle with regard to financial sustainability and wealth building, I really get a lot out of that.
You're big on that too.
Yeah.
But I really want to back up and how do you go from being a lawyer to going into real estate? And when you decided to make that transition, did people think you were crazy?
Oh, they definitely did because it was right when the financial crisis was about to start.
Hmm.
So, and I had a quote unquote good job. I was senior counsel at a software company, a publicly traded software company. But you have to trace it back a little bit to my upbringing. I grew up without a lot, okay, single parent mom, around a lot of affluence because I was a scholarship kid every step of the way at the best schools in New York City. And um, so I saw how the other half lived, interacted with them at camps and schools and so forth. Um, Really rightsy, rootsy community growing up, civil rights, a school and a community sort of that came out of the civil rights movement that was started by activists and civil rights, icons. And fundamentally spent a lot of years not appreciating the fact that at the end of the day, I'm entrepreneurial.
Hmm.
So sort of denying that part of myself because honestly, it just wasn't a very high calling where I grew up
Mhm.
in my community. Um, so I went to law school, still in the midst of not really recognizing my true nature, let's call it, professionally speaking, anyhow, to be a public defender,
Hmm.
to defend people accused of crimes. I didn't go to law school to be a lawyer. I went to law school to be a public defender. In law school, I learned, oh, Carlos cannot hack that job. Like, you're not built to handle that. Like, it will destroy you. You can't hack it.
Interesting.
Okay. And I don't know why I didn't quit law school, by the way, because, I'm not a quitter, but I'm also like not like a person who says, I'm not a quitter. I mean, like, if you should
Right.
quit, you should quit. But for some reason, it did not occur to me in law school. I don't know what I was thinking. So I was like, oh, then what am I going to do? I became an international trade lawyer. Yeah. Speak Spanish. I love traveling. Sure, I'll do that. And spent years doing that, really hating my law job. Then managed to transition to becoming a corporate and tech lawyer, which I liked but never loved. So I had a so-called good job, but I didn't love it.
Mhm.
And I loved real estate.
Hmm.
So on the side, I started investing in real estate when I was making a very low salary as a lawyer right out of law school in international trade. And then a little later, I had a high salary, but I still was like, well, before it was so I could have some money. And then now that I've got this great salary, it's so that I don't feel these golden handcuffs and I feel like I must remain in this job to give me freedom and choice and optionality.
Were
So,
you investing in New York? Sorry to interrupt
oh,
you.
in DC.
In DC.
Always in DC. It was in the 90s, late 90s. And, starting in Adams Morgan, Calorama, with my first two purchases on the 1800 block of Mintwood. So I got really
Wow,
lucky to
yeah.
Adams
focus on a good
Morgan
location.
represent.
Yeah. So two
I-
buildings there.
I love
That
Admiral.
really got me rolling.
That's awesome.
Do you still own in Mintwood? Mintwood?
Yeah, I still own one house.
Wow, that's a beautiful street.
Yeah, it's a solid
Mhm.
property. Sadly, I sold the other one. Never should have.
I was going to say, are you into the philosophy of buy, never sell?
Yes, full stop. I wasn't as clear on that back then.
Sure.
Now I did trade that property that I sold on Mintwood for two other properties. One of which is one of my best cash flow properties today in Bloomingdale. The other of which I made a lot of money. It was on the coast, facing the Chesapeake Bay, and I got out of that one. I don't really want to own a coastal property that's not on higher ground, and which it was not.
Yes.
But yeah. So fundamentally, what happened was, what started off as a side hustle became my vocation.
Mm.
But that kid who went to law school to be a public defender is still here.
Mhm.
So one of the things that's been really important to me in my career is, I guess I resigned myself to, oh yeah, so okay, I am an entrepreneur. And a mentor once told me, you, Carlos, have a nose for commerce. I was about 22, 23, and I remember looking at him like, oh, that's like, those are dirty words. Like,
Mhm.
you're offending me with that. Oh, so then, but he was right. It took me a while to come around to it. I'm a little like entrepreneur, a wheeler dealer. I like transactions. I like to count the pennies. So today, that's who I am. I'm transacting with clients, for clients, negotiating, fighting on their behalf, occasionally buying an investment property, fighting on my own behalf. But that person who wanted to do something in the community to be a public defender still exists. And now that I've had a pretty decent real estate career and, some things have started to take shape, my kids are off in college or out of college. My retirement is starting to take some shape and some form. I have a sense of where this is all headed. More than ever, I've got a renewed sense of commitment to community. I've been involved in community-based initiatives and nonprofits my entire time. I did a lot of good work before we started having kids. Then we started having kids, and I was overwhelmed with that. And now I'm back, kind of thing. And that's really, you were asking before we got on the air, what motivates me. And I would say that at this point, that's it. I want to grow my business and serve my clients so that I can really be a meaningful part of a number of community-based initiatives. That's where my headspace is.
So, real estate in a similar way, that also is kind of where my deeper drive comes from, is from how real estate has helped improve my life. And because of community-based or government-based programs that were created, help my family, immigrant family, build generational wealth for me to be able to get to where I am today. And my mother is savvy, and she is a go-getter, so she's not scared of jumping into opportunities that are very new for her. So when she had, bought the home that I ended up growing up in after living into some rentals, that home is what created the wealth for us to be able to, grow in life and move on and pay for college and all of those things. But I don't think that everyone necessarily has that personality like my mother has. And so as a real estate agent, and with that knowledge, being able to share that with someone to grow that generational wealth for themselves and for their family is such a powerful thing. And yeah, of course, like, it's nice to get a paycheck. It's nice to tour beautiful luxury homes. Like, I love design. It gives me goosebumps walking into a beautiful home. But even more so, it's being able to help people get to their next step in life and build that wealth. So, like, Franklin, you were saying the other day that, like, generational wealth or wealth building is such a buzzword these days, kind of like how the word entrepreneur is, right?
Right.
And I feel like because it's such a buzzword, it's lost a lot of value.
Correct.
But if someone was to say, like, building wealth, that is how my family was able to build wealth, was from that one townhouse in Rockville. And it is, like, completely game changing. I would not be here today without that house.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing when, that's how I met you. I came from New York, and
3 New Yorkers in here, by the way. I'm sitting next
Hey.
to 3 New Yorkers.
New
You're-
York.
you're welcome.
Well, you used to live in New York.
I
so-
did.
You're welcome.
The more New York people I can surround myself with, the
We'll-
more
we'll
I
make
can
you an
bully it.
official New Yorker.
Oh, wait, you
Yeah.
lived in New York.
I did. I lived there
Yeah.
for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I just got here from New York, and I got referred to Kimber Minkiti
Mm-hmm.
to interview for a role as an assistant team leader with Keller Williams Capital Properties. And I had no DC real estate experience whatsoever, but I had this leadership development and coaching experience in the background from Northwestern Mutual. And they took a chance on me.
Wow.
They took a chance. And Carlos was one of the people that I met with very, very early on. And I didn't know where Carlos was in the ecosystem of Keller Williams Capital Properties, but he's in a good spot in, in the ecosystem. And he took the time. I remember I think it was like the day before Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And everyone was flying out of here like a big bird in a windstorm. And there was a agent that I was going to interview, and Carlos stayed like last person in the office to stay and do this interview with me.
I remember that in the
That's
18th Street
that's Carlos.
conference room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it a good interview?
It
Good
was.
agent?
I'm drawing a blank on who it was, but I feel like this person.
Must not have been that
No,
good of
No,
an
because
interview.
neither one of them can
'Cause you
remember the
you
name.
wouldn't forget me.
Right.
But and then we evolved because I ended up moving into a different role in a bigger market center by myself, where I don't know, they were crazy. They really
Is that
took a
where I
ch-
met you?
No, I met you in Capitol Hill with Joe Martin.
Right.
Yeah.
You
No, when I went to
you were the team leader. That's how I met you.
I went to
Yeah.
Tenleytown. But when I left my role at KWCP and went into where I'm doing now with Smart, I joined his team.
That's right.
I was
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was an agent on this team, and I was trying to remember how we even got to that point, but I just remember being there.
Carlos just finds talent and just latches on.
Well,
He knows.
he invites everyone. So
I think that's how it started.
yeah, you say, come to my meetings.
I think that's how it
you
started.
let anyone sit in.
It's
And
true.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It's true.
You're not
it's-
worried about like, they're going to take all my secrets.
No. It's like it's just a way for people to see how you could be relating to your colleagues.
Mhm.
There's a lot of ways to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just one way to do it. I like to do the same thing, visit other teams. So yeah, I'm very open. The other part of it is that sometimes, well, it's not just inviting agents to join the meetings that my team that I run,
Mm-hmm.
has. I also like to take notes. These three people are interested in this topic, so let's the four of us meet and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just more efficient, more collaborative, and now like we can make a thing out of it.
Right.
Like we're the four, people trying to solve for luxury listings or whatever it is, selling more on the east side or whatever the topic might be, constructing a profit and loss statement. So I've always been a matchmaker a little bit in that way, and there are a lot of people that I'm in continual communication with. Some people will keep up the conversation. Some with others, maybe depending on what's happening in their lives, it comes and goes. It's not like officially coaching. I've never been paid to coach people. I do pay for coaching myself. I'm coached, but it's just part of the way I do my business and stay in touch with people. And like the other day, this guy this very very good Keller Williams agent met with me for advice. And halfway through it, I was like, dude, I'm taking notes here. Would you say that again? Give me that phone number again. What's the website? You know what I mean? And he had like 3 or 4 really tangible ideas, and I shared them at my next meeting.
Absolutely.
And what goes around comes around. It goes both ways. Try to stay fresh,
Yeah.
Definitely as old as I am, you've been in it a while, you can get stale.
Well, kudos to you for saying that, because I do feel like there are so many top agents out there that just want to tell the world about why they're so great and how they got there.
Mhm.
But I really do think that the most successful agents are the ones that listen to what is happening
Yeah.
out there and what other successful people are doing to get there, because there's no one way to do this. This industry is so multifaceted. Like, you take the investment route, you can take the homeowner route, you can take it as, a cash flow. Like, there's so many ways of doing it. And so by just tuning everyone out and just like talking over everyone else and sharing your success, you lose all of the other great lessons to be learned.
Because you don't know someone else's background and what they can offer up. Everyone has a history and making those connections. So that's how it works. I mean, I may come to you from a place where I'm asking questions or whatever, but as we get to know each other, I always like to give back. I'm not like big on taking, and never being able to give back. And so I met Carlos. I remember, well, I knew of you, and I remember being outside, and it was myself and another agent, and we're like, oh, that's Carlos. And I was like, Carlos, and you may not remember this. I said, what should I do? I'm just starting out in the business. Do you recommend? I really want to go after the luxury industry. I just want to do like a couple of big deals a year. And should I do that, or should I do something else?
Should I
And
sell $1 million house
Right.
a quarter?
That's right. And he was like, no, you go for quantity. And I'm like,
client
I go
building.
for quantity?
It's
I'm
client
like,
building.
oh, okay. Gotta do a lot of stuff. But you were right. I really didn't get it at first. And still, my production started to increase. And I was like, oh, that's why he said go for as many deals as I can, because each new deal brings a new experience and a new obstacle and a new way of thinking and a new level of expertise that I didn't have before. So I am who I am today because I went for quantity. I followed and took your advice.
The other part of it is it's like a sport,
Hmm.
and you need to keep up and sharp. So
Mm.
like I say to my mother about my stepdad who's getting older, no, he can't walk over there. I go, no, you make him walk to keep him walking. In order to continue to be able to walk, you must walk.
Mhm.
And likewise to transact. You got to stay sharp. Honestly, I don't mean to offend any realtors out there, but like a realtor can make a good living doing say maybe depending on the price points, 7 deals a year. They're definitely going to be competent. But in terms of just understanding nuances, shifts in the marketplace, um, I'll run circles around them.
Right.
You know what I
Because you
mean?
need experience,
Yeah, you do.
tangible experience.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
need to really be at it. And that's part of why I was saying that.
Yeah.
So just transact at all.
Right.
Especially
Luxury is
as a
great. I
new
love those.
agent, right? Like when you
100%.
don't have that, you need as much volume, which is why I was so grateful to have the experience as a showing agent with you, because the volume, the amount of showings I was doing like over a weekend. Because when I had first started, I was dual
Too much of a
career.
good thing.
I was dual career, and I remember there was one Saturday. It was hot. It was summer. It easily was like 90 degrees plus, and of course, wearing my perfect realtor outfit, got my blazer, my jeans. I looked actually a lot like Franklin right now, girl version.
Yeah.
More hair.
And
I borrowed this from your
I
closet.
remember showing this because it was a very popular home in Petworth. I showed it 3 times that day because it was to 3 different clients.
Mm.
And I was averaging like sometimes like 20 properties, 25 properties in a day.
Oh my goodness,
sometimes.
Gigi.
It was a lot.
Carlos
but
was cracking that
I
whip.
learned
That's a
how
lot.
to show properties. And that's why even till today, like I still prefer buyers because I really enjoy it. And I think I got so much experience from the beginning that that's my strength is working with
Mm.
buyers. And, circling back to what advice that you had given Tracy in regards to, making sure that you're in the market and for newer agents to kind of, be going for all different types of deals.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the advice that you had given me, and it wasn't really advice, it was kind of your point of view or your feelings about this, was that you don't actually get excited at this closing table. You get excited at the initial meeting when you sit down with the client, when you first reel them in and you sit down with that buyer agent or that selling.
It's over.
Because it's new. That's your new business. When you close, yeah, it's nice you get paid, but like you should be expecting to get paid after your first meeting with them.
Yes.
And
Yes. It's just the closing and the commission is just the manifestation of what everyone agreed we were going to do.
Right.
Now, it is enjoyable to the extent that the client is having a really big day.
Yes,
But
of course.
but on some level, that's the closing of the account.
Mhm.
Right.
The
Yeah.
work is done.
Right.
Mhm.
It's history. It's the ancient past. It's
Yeah,
not.
you're back
It's
to
not
the
about my
starting.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're back to the beginning of your sales cycle.
got to do it all over again.
Why is
Yeah.
that funny?
I'm
Yeah.
still surprised after all these years, and I don't know how long you've been in the business. Maybe you want to share that you're still in production because you really don't have to be.
You don't know this man's pocket.
Now, I know Carlos does not have to be in production, but you enjoy it.
Well, 2 things. I do enjoy it, but look, credit where it's due to those people who've managed to build a business where they're out of production entirely. Um, that is more like building any business than it is like doing real estate, because it's about somehow getting out of the doing of the real estate. And you need to be a business person to do that, not just a realtor.
Right.
And I haven't done that. So I have a lot of respect for people who've done that. Now, in my particular case, I don't feel a very strong desire to do that. I almost feel like, wait, I'm supposed to want to do that. But I still enjoy the interaction with the clients very, very much. And also, let's imagine that I might need to take some risks financially if I was to do that. Say there might be a period of time where I'm making less money to then ramp it back up again and grow the enterprise now,
Mhm.
right? And that's not necessarily where I personally right now want to spend time growing. Sort of back to my involvement in community. Right now, I'm doing some of my best work on a volunteer basis for these nonprofits, and it's I don't want to make it sound negative, but I'm killing myself. Like I'm working really hard. Some of it has brought me to tears of worry, sadness when things don't come through. Like when you care about as much, for the thing as you do about anything. My very best, the best I've got. So, and also in my case right now, serious for me amounts of money or percentages of my my income, I'm actually donating.
Right.
There's some nonprofits I'm involved with for whom the time is tough. It's tough right now. Coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of pain out there in communities and in sectors and in the nonprofit sector. You know, the timing isn't great. You always want to say, "Oh, I'll help you later," but people need what they need when they need it, not when you need them to need it. So it's a yes or no question. Are you going to step in or not? And I want to say yes to these really important questions. So that's where I'm growing and straining. So you know, within my real estate practice, I'm enjoying where I'm at. I'm still having to work hard. It's not like easy for me, but that's not where I'm necessarily at the moment taking my biggest risks.
Right.
And so maybe in the future, I will seek to have a even more leveraged business where I'm no longer interacting with clients. I'm just referring everything. I'm just managing salespeople and even sales managers. But that's not like a near-term thing for me.
Got it. I love it.
Something that popped into my head as a question: if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently, if anything?
Well, I don't know for sure, but I'm curious. So it's the road not taken.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not kicking myself because I didn't go down that road.
Sure.
But I'm curious. Well, I'd like to take a peek down there.
Sure.
What would that have been like?
Right.
How would that have played out? So in business, it's that, you know, I'm very fortunate to be in business with Bo Menkiti, who's a tremendous, and Kimber Menkiti, who are tremendous business people and also philanthropists. I have a lifelong conversation that really is what attracted me to Bo and Bo to me initially around doing well and doing good. And so I love those Menkitis, right? And so along the way, as Bo has grown his tremendous enterprises, all his various businesses, growing Keller Williams Capital Properties, you know, is one of those things he's done. I think he is the majority owner, or he and Kimber are, of, I don't know, maybe 6 or 9 offices, somewhere in there, right? So I could have played a more integral role in the growth.
Sure.
You know, I'm a peripheral partner, and a leading agent, like an agent who's well known and who tries to know everybody and be helpful to everybody and so forth. But that'd be my part-time job. But there were opportunities along the way to make that my full-time job, and I'm curious what that would have looked like.
Okay.
You know, there's the you know, like the part, like, what would I have gotten out of that?
Sure.
You know, ownership and blah, 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 notoriety, whatever it would have been. But then also, like, what would my impact on that have been? What would the Carlos way of doing things, you know, have done to impact the trajectory of these organizations? I wonder about that.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like from my perspective, you sharing that with us is that you're so authentic in your role within KWCP that it is not even apparent that that's actually a role that you play. It's so natural. Like, I did not even know, you know, green in this industry, not understanding how brokerages are structured or any bit of that. I didn't know that that was your role there, that you were a partner there. I didn't know because that wasn't what you led with.
Right.
And I feel like if you had more of that responsibility, it wouldn't have come off so natural.
I agree, Gigi. I
Well, that's
totally
interesting.
agree.
That's
So don't go down that road.
Yeah, yeah. Be you, stay you. Because you've been a tremendous impact on all of us, each of us, all 3 of us, right?
Yes.
And so that's why we wanted you here today, because you have a voice and you've made a very significant impact that, like Franklin said, we talk about you all the time on our podcast.
so sweet. Thank you so much.
Well, and thank you, Carlos, for teaching us all of these lessons that have resonated with us over the years. I appreciate you saying hello to me when I was interviewing for KWCP, sitting in the lobby. You're like, "Hey, I don't know you. I'm Carlos." And, you know, we had a conversation and you extended out the opportunity, and I would not be here today without that. So I am so grateful to you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I think it's cool that the 3 of you have come together.
Yes.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, from various, you know, places and starting points.
I just randomly emailed you.
Yeah.
When your brokerage started.
Literally cold emailed me.
He stalked you online?
I was like, your brand is kind of cool. What is it? Tell me about it.
And I mean, I'm sure you've told your origin story, but where was this born? This idea?
At a
dinner.
restaurant over dinner.
This is actually our anniversary.
It's
month.
our anniversary.
Yeah, so you're
Nice.
on our anniversary show.
Our
Nice.
anniversary
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. Well,
Which
good,
makes
good thing we
sense,
made
'cause
such a
this-
big deal about it.
Yeah.
No, we were at dinner, just having dinner as people who liked each other, and I think I said, sometimes I just feel like a reluctant ham.
No, you were talking about being on TV. You wanted to be on
Oh
TV.
yeah, I wanted to be on television.
Bravo or
I said I don't really like
HGTV.
talking about it because I'm like I don't want to be too hammy. I'm like,
And I'm like, why aren't you
And I
on
was
TV?
like, what's a
and I'm like,
ham?
just like a reluctant ham, and
And then Gigi was
yeah.
like, I'm a reluctant ham then too. And I'm like, so am I.
And then we were like, we should start a podcast.
here we are.
Literally, that's
Great.
how it
Here we are,
happened.
12 months later.
Blame it on the drinks.
Blame it on the drinks.
There were plenty of drinks at Shoto.
Not surprised.
Well, thank you again, Carlos, for taking the time to be with us here today. Please continue to help, guide other agents, home buyers, home sellers, owners, all of the above in your real estate journey, because you really are doing great work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You guys are too.
Yeah.
This is a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And I want to thank our listeners for sticking with us for the last year.
Oh
It's
my
our
goodness.
first year
I
in
cannot believe it.
first year in the podcast.
Yes.
We're not relying on ratings just as much as we pay.
Yes. Continue to listen, share our podcast with your friends, your family. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
All of them.
And Carlos, if people want to learn more about you and your company and your story, how can they find you?
Oh my goodness. Well, Carlos at ngarcia.com will work. My mobile number,
Okay.
which is easily found. Stuff like that. Is that what you
Yes.
mean? 202-253-6177. Text me. I know a lot of
love
people would
it.
say message me, but I might not see it. Just
I'm,
text me.
I'm pretty sure your wife's name is saved with your name in my phone for a reason.
For a reason.
All right, guys. Well, enjoy the rest of your week and thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.